Hi folks, my name is Emmanuel John. I'm a therapist. I've been working in the treatment field for 35 years consistently. I'm a published author, written books on the subject. Please visit Addiction Why They Use on Facebook, or Addiction Am I Powerless on Facebook, as well as EmmanuelJohn.com or AddictionInTheFamily.com. As well, please like and subscribe to those little buttons down at the bottom. You'll help me out a lot. This is a free service, a free video, and the more likes we can get, the more people benefit, more people see it. So I want to talk with you a little bit today about the steps and just the structure that I talk about with people about the steps that I've learned over the years through working with a lot of very informed gentlemen and a lot of literature reading and a lot of study and about 20 years of profiling Bill Wilson himself to learn about how he thought and why he thought the way he thought. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the structure of the steps and how Bill structured them. Obviously, he got most of his ideas from the Oxford groups. But Bill had gone to, at the time, what was called a business school. And business schools were usually pretty short, anywhere from 2 to 6 months in length. What Bill was taught is to develop a 10-step business plan. A lot of people who've gone to business school hear that today. It's a 10-step plan of benchmarks. Do one thing, after that, then you do the next thing, and you do the next thing, and you go up to the top, and you get to your peak. So you develop these 10 things. One has to be done. Okay, if I want to have a store, what do I do to have a store? Well, I need to figure out where it's going to be. I need to get the lease. I need to get the rent. I need to pay the bills. And then I have to have inventory. So all these other things get involved in that process. Well, so that's what he was taught about the 10-step business plan. What he was also taught was that before you do that, you identify the problem. What is your problem? What is the situation at hand? My business isn't making enough money. I need to start a new business. I don't have the business that I want to have. I don't have a restaurant. I want a restaurant. So you develop first, identify the problem. The first step identifies the problem. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol and or drugs, that our life had become unmanageable. That's the problem in a nutshell. That's why people come to 12-step programs and to drug treatment, because their life is unmanageable. The second step is the solution. What is the goal that I'm looking for? To have a healthy, functioning restaurant, a successful restaurant, business, store, landscaping business. So the second step identifies the goal. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. That's the goal. That is why people come to the 12-step program. They're insane. They're going crazy. Their life's crazy. They want sanity in their lives. But they're going to use a higher power to do it. They come to believe that the power is how they do it. First step identifies the problem. The second step identifies the solution. If you work 3 through 11, you get 12, a spiritual awakening. Okay, so there's a process. Everybody knows that the third step is a decision, or most people have learned that the third step is a decision. It says, made a decision. It doesn't say you did it. It says you made a decision. You are making a decision to turn your will and your life over to the care of God in order so that you can do the second, achieve the second, which is came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. First, you have to turn your life over. That's how you create that relationship. So you work 3 through 11, you get 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to others and to practice these principles in all our affairs, other alcoholics, and to practice these principles in all our affairs, depending on your program. So, first step, problem. Second step, solution. 3 through 11, you get 12 for the spiritual awakening. Now, there isn't a lot of research done on the steps, so I want to caution people, just while we're on this subject, to take your time. There's no speed test to get through the steps. And go through them fast is not thoroughly. We can argue all day. People probably will till the end of time to argue. Personally, I've done actual research. I did a master's thesis on the subject of what is successful recovery, what does it look like, what are the habits of successful people in recovery. I talk about it a little bit in my book, Addiction Am I Powerless? Self-assessment guide for anyone with a drug or alcohol problem. Available at AddictionInTheFamily.com and on Amazon. So the research I was covering there a little bit, but the truth is that I did the study. The average length of time I did people with 5 or more years of recovery. The average length of time for respondents in the survey was 17.6 years. So I got a lot of good old timers involved there, and a lot of people who've been around a while to answer these questions. 79% of the people who responded to the survey, and I went to all clubs, the fast people, the short people, the people who do them long, the people who don't do them long. I went to all the different people and asked them these questions, had them fill out this questionnaire. So about 70, 80%, 79% said that they basically got to about their third or fourth step. They got to their fourth step around the year mark. One of the earliest that responded to the entire survey was like 9 months. But that person also admitted later that they'd come back and done it again. So is that done? If you have to do it again, it's probably not done. That's another argument. I'm sure that people will argue to the end of time. Just a reminder, the steps didn't exist when Bill and those guys did it. So anybody that tells you this is how they did it is just not being accurate. They didn't have numbers. They didn't say, oh, we went through all 12. They didn't have 12 to go through. Okay? They went through the process. Usually there's a story in the big book that everybody clings to where it says Dr. Bob took him through the steps. That does not mean he did the steps. Try to listen to the words. You know, as a guy I know used to say, read the black parts of the book, not the white parts. Took him through the steps. That's what he did. Didn't say he worked them all through them. Dr. Bob hadn't worked them all at that point. And that is what everybody does on a 12-step call. You take and you read through the book, and you go through and you say, well, these are the steps. This is how we got our real 12-step call. This is how we did it. This is how the people before us did it. And they explain the steps. That's not working the steps. Anybody who thinks you can make a searching and fearless moral inventory of yourself with less than a year of recovery might need medication. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being totally serious. So this is a little bit about the steps. I'm going to have more in future videos that I'll actually break down individual steps. I hope you come in and tune in for them. There's those little like buttons and stuff again that are on the bottom. Please click them. Please subscribe if you want to get all of the videos that I'm going to be doing quite a few of in the next couple months here in 2020. So thanks for taking the time to listen. I hope you got something that you could take with you. You don't have to take it all. I trust the people who've taught it to me. I trust the literature and the time that I put into it, more than 20 years of profiling Bill and trying to figure out why he did what he did, because I wanted the truth. I wanted to know it. I didn't want to misguide myself or clients as to what they needed to know. And I spent a lot of my career working in relapse prevention. And one of the things that I can most attribute to relapse with the people that I've worked with is having not worked it thoroughly, having missed something and gone through something just so they could get it done. Addicts, alcoholics, dependents like instant gratification, and you just aren't going to get that through the steps. And in fact, delaying gratification is how we find success with anything in our lives, whether it be addiction or trying to establish a new career. Thanks again, Emmanuel John. You can visit me at emmanueljohn.com or alladictioninthefamily.com. Thanks. Bye.